Okay, this one says, I'm sorry, but what history do the Anglos have? None. Grapist colonizers have zero contribution to true Native American roots. Remember, we didn't cross the border crossed us. Now that's true about the border. You didn't cross the border crossed you. The Native Americans were always here. Then the Spaniards came and claimed this territory. Then the Mexicans kicked the Spaniards out. And then they made it Mexico and claimed this territory. Then the United States took this territory from Mexico and claimed this territory, and the Native Americans have been here the whole time, so yes, the border crossed you. Now as for your other question, what history do the Anglos have? Me, I'm Hispanic, but as for the Anglo history, there was some Civil War battles, the Battle of Valverde Ford, the Battle of Glorieta Pass, there was the Colfax County War, there was the Lincoln County War. There's a lot of Anglo history in New Mexico, more in the Wild West days. In the 16 and 1700s, we have a lot of Spanish history, Mexican history, and then when you get into the 18 and 1900s, you have the Anglo history, because that's when the Santa Fe Trail, people were coming down the trail, then they made the train, so people started coming west on the trains. And then your other one, grapist colonizers have zero contribution to true Native American roots. Well, that's true. Of course, the outsiders have no contribution to true Native American roots. And that's not what I'm talking about. This is a comment to a video about Santa Fe's diversity. I wasn't trying to say that we influenced the Native American culture or nothing like that. It's the other way around. The Native American culture influenced the Hispanic people. They mixed, they kind of combined their cultures. Same when the Anglos came in. So Santa Fe is like a melting pot of all kinds of different cultures. And then in the 1800s, Irish people started coming. In the 1900s, during World War I and World War II, German people started coming. So there's a lot of history in New Mexico and Santa Fe that has to do with Native American, Hispanic, Anglo, and all kinds of other cultures. We're a melting pot, and that's all I got to say about that. This is Tragedy. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new. I'm out. So this one says, nope. Santa Fe is a place where indigenous is welcome, but do not be indigenous. Now this was a comment to a little video I made with a quote talking about how Santa Fe is a place of diversity, Native American, Hispanic, Anglo, all mixed together, making it what it is today. But this person says, it's a place where indigenous is welcome, but do not be indigenous. Really? That's not true. Go downtown Santa Fe and look around. You'll see Native Americans, Hispanic, Anglos. You'll see a mixture of everything. And indigenous people are welcome. What are you talking about? Selling jewelry in front of the Palace of the Governors? They've been doing that since probably before I was born. I remember seeing them since I was a kid. It's not like we force you guys to do that. The Hispanic people or even the white Anglo, whoever the hell's in control, they don't force you to go sell your jewelry. You do that on your own. And as for your prayers, the ones that the people call dances, you're not supposed to be doing that as a spectacle. Yet you go downtown to the stage in the plaza and you do your dances as a spectacle for the tourists. And when you're done, they're cheering and clapping and you guys enjoy it. Well, I thought that those are prayers. They're ceremonial. They're not supposed to be a spectacle for the people to watch and cheer to. And the people in power don't make you guys go do that either. So stop blaming us and blame yourselves. Blame the parents who are letting their kids go do that on the stages. You guys are also in the fiesta. I see you guys in the parade, Native Americans and Hispanic. Are they forcing you guys to do that? Anyway, I know not all Native Americans feel this way, so I'm not aiming this at all Native Americans, but the Native Americans who feel like we're racist, Hispanic people, or even the Anglos, or that the people in Santa Fe don't like natives, you're tripping. Go downtown, take a look around. Last month, in August, they had their Indian market, they celebrated the Pueblo Revolt, and they did that all in Santa Fe. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to stop them. We let them do what they do. Some of them let us do what we do. Some of them protest against it. But we don't protest against what you do because we know that you were here first and we know that this land belonged to you, so you have your reasons to be mad for what happened to your ancestors. But we're not living hundreds of years ago. This is 2024. Anyway, I guess that's all I gotta say about that. Tragedy, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new. I'm out.
Santa Fe is a testament to the beauty of diversity. Here, the influences of Native American, Hispanic, Anglo, and other cultures come together to create something truly unique. This city is a living canvas painted with the colors of its history, each brush stroke representing a different story, a different voice, a different tradition.
Did you know that Santa Fe, New Mexico is the oldest capital city in America, meaning the United States of America? But a lot of people think that this means it's the first capital city in America. That's not true. The fact that it's the oldest capital city in America just means that it's the oldest capital city that is still a capital city today. It became a capital city in 1610 and it remains capital city today, and that's why it's the oldest capital city in America. Before Santa Fe was the capital was a little more to the north, in modern day San Juan, or Opeawinge. It was originally called Opeawinge, and the Spaniards named it San Juan, and then now they renamed it back to Opeawinge. That's why I say it like that. Anyway, San Juan was the capital from 1698 all the way until 1607. And Santa Fe was already built in 1607 and was established in 1610. And that's why it's the oldest capital city in America. I hope I explained that right. This is tragic. Now. So today I'm coming on here to teach you guys the truth, as I always do. So I identify as Hispanic, meaning my ancestors came from Spain 400 or 500 years ago. The Spaniards were brutal people. They conquered the Americas. They subdued the Native Americans who lived here. They took their land. So everything that they say about the Spanish conquest is true. The Spaniards slaughtered whole pueblos. Their diseases passed on to the natives and killed like 90% of them. So I'm not watering down the truth and trying to say that this didn't happen, because my ancestors, the Spaniards, were brutal people. But I'm coming on here to talk about how I believe in my heart that we're getting karma for what our ancestors did. Because if you look at the Hispanic population, most of us are addicted to drugs, or in prison, or on the streets begging for a fucking dime. I see them holding signs all the time. Those are our people, the Hispanics, and maybe that's our karma for what our ancestors did. My whole point in this is, we can't do nothing about our past. Whatever happened 400 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago, that has to do with the Spaniards and the natives, there's nothing we could do about that. What we can do is speak the truth, and I could tell the stories of how this really did happen. The native population was slaughtered, separated from their families and their home. They weren't allowed to practice the religion of their ancestors. Their gods were taken away from them and replaced with the European Catholic gods and saints. So they weren't good people, brutal. Fun fact, when Queen Isabel of Spain sent the Spaniards to the West, she gave everybody pardons that were in the dungeons, criminals, murderers, rapists, all the people that were in the dungeons in Spain, she gave them pardons if they would sail west. So who do you think came west? The worst of the worst in Spain came west. So you can't blame us, the descendants of the Spaniards, for what our ancestors did, because we can't do nothing about it. I could see if we were coming on here and trying to put a veil over history, trying to say that these things didn't happen, but they did. And all we could do now is learn from them and teach about them, as long as we teach the truth. Anyway, Hispanics and natives are still fighting to this day in New Mexico over what happened in our past. I'm trying to tell us that we need to unite and come together. Anyway, this is Tragedy. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new. I'm out.
This is a Tlaxcalan soldier in Spanish armor. Tlaxcala was an indigenous Mexican tribe, loyal to the mighty Aztec Empire. They fought Hernán Cortés to protect King Moctezuma of the Aztecs. But when they saw how brutal and advanced the Spanish were, they decided to make a truce with them. They made an alliance and sealed it through marriage. Together with other indigenous allies, they destroyed the Aztecs, and Tenochtitlan became Mexico City, and Mexico became part of Spain. New Spain? When Juan de Ocate colonized what is now northern New Mexico, he brought many Tlaxcalan allies with him, soldiers and their families. In the early 1600s, they built what is now downtown Santa Fe. They lived in Barrio de Analco, and the San Miguel Chapel was their church. They built the oldest house in America and the oldest church in America. The house on De Vargas Street and the San Miguel Chapel. The Tlaxcalans built historic Santa Fe. The Tlaxcalan blood in New Mexico is strong.
What this one says is, what people don't understand is when the conquistadores came to northern New Mexico, Spain was not a country, so the conquistadores have no ties to current-day Spain. Oh my god. Spain wasn't a country when they came to northern New Mexico? Now let me put you up on game, since you don't know about this. In around the year 700 AD, roughly, the Muslims from northern Africa, they weren't from northern Africa, okay, let me tell you. The Muslim conquest went from the Middle East outward. They conquered a lot of that territory all the way into northern Africa. Then they eventually crossed north into Spain. The Muslims conquered most of Spain, all except for pretty much the Basque region and a little other part of northern Spain. That stayed Visigoth. See, by this time, the Roman Empire had fallen. The barbarian Visigoths had took over most of their territory, including Spain. Especially Spain, actually. Then when the Muslims came, they got pushed all the way to the north, and the Muslims pretty much ruled the country of Spain, except for a little piece in the north, the Basque region. They were the only little bit of Spain that stayed Catholic and stayed Visigoth with their little Roman Catholic, Visigoth, the whole mixture that they had, that culture that Spain was before the Moorish came. They're the only ones that remained that way. The rest was all under Muslim control, which by the way was brutal. They would stone people to death. Women have to wear their veils, kind of like the ISIS is today. While from the Basque region in northern Spain is where the Reconquest came from, and little by little they pushed the Moorish out. It was called the Reconquista of Spain, and it lasted about 700 years. There was different kingdoms at the time. There was the Kingdom of Castile, the Kingdom of Aragon, the Kingdom of Leon, the Kingdom of Navarre, but they were all under the Spanish Kingdom, Hispania. Then there was a very important marriage that united the kingdoms of Spain into one. King Isabel of Aragon and King Ferdinand or Fernando of Castile. Now these were the two biggest kingdoms in Spain. So when they married and the two biggest kingdoms united, it made Spain one bigger country. Now there was more Muslims in the southern region of Spain called Granada. But their marriage, which made Spain one powerful country besides Portugal, but the Portugals were allies with Spain, they pushed the Moorish people out of Spain completely. And this was in the year 1492. That was an important year for Spain because Spain became one country, Hispania. So this was in 1492 when Spain was officially what it is now, for the most part. But it was a country. So when the Spaniards came to New Mexico in the 1500s, 1540, 1598, the early 1600s, yes, Spain was a country. And the Spaniards were under the crown of Spain. When Oñate settled, the king of Spain was King Philip II. Before that, it was King Charles, who became the Holy Roman Emperor, King Charles. So Spain was a country. There's a lot of politics involved. I'm not going to try to talk about all the European history right now because it goes deep. But I'm just trying to tell you. Anyway, this is Tragedy. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something new. I'm out.
New Mexico used to be a northern state of Mexico, as well as Texas, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Nevada, California, and more. Mexico used to reach all the way to Canada. The Louisiana Purchase from Napoleon Bonaparte was illegal. Napoleon wasn't supposed to or allowed to sell the land, but as the conqueror he did what he wanted and took what he pleased. So the land was sold to the newly formed United States. The Americans believed in manifest destiny. They believed this land was given to them by their God, and they were gonna occupy it from the east coast to the west coast. No matter who lived there and claimed the land, they believed it was destined to them, which it wasn't. The Tejanos in Texas rose up against Mexican rule, and the Texas Revolution took Texas away from Mexico. They became their own republic. Then the United States attacked Mexico, and the Mexican-American War began. The Mexican-American War ended with an army of United States troops besieging Mexico City, storming their Capitol building, and forcing them to sign the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Mexico gave up half their country. This gave the United States the modern states of New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and California roughly. Eventually the Gadsden Purchase sold the southern part of New Mexico and Arizona to the United States. This is why we are part of the United States now.
So I was gonna reply to a comment, but as I was scrolling through my comments, I noticed there was a few comments that said the same thing. So I'm gonna respond to this. So there's a group of Native American people who are saying that by celebrating fiestas, we're celebrating conquest, colonization, rape, murder. Disease? Serio, dog, think about it. You think we would celebrate that? And as a few of my other followers commented, they made a good point. There's a lot of love between Native and Hispanic people throughout the generations. Like real love, like marriages, kids, families. When the Spanish came, they did come brutal. They came with their Spanish government, their Spanish medieval ways. So things didn't turn out so good. That's not what we celebrate. Today I'm gonna go to the parade. I'm gonna go live and I'll record the whole parade so you guys can watch it. You'll see the diversity. There's Hispanic, there's Native American, there's Mexican, there's the mixture. It's not like we're just marching through the streets wearing conquistador armor, yelling, Que viva fucking grape and murder. No, bro, that's not what we're doing. We're just representing the sangre that's in our blood. And that sangre isn't pure Hispanic. Nobody's pure anything anymore. Especially here in New Mexico. We have the indigenous blood of Mexico here. We have the indigenous blood of the Pueblos, the Navajo, the Apache, the Comanche. We have all types of blood of Native American here. Native Mexican, just indigenous to the Americas. We have a lot of that. We also have a lot of Hispanic. The population in New Mexico is probably like 80% Hispanic. But none of us tries to say we're pure Spaniard. We know we're mestizos, more like coyotes, like me. I even have German blood from my grandma's side. My great-grandma, her husband, Mr. Crane and Mrs. Crane. One of them came from Missouri and the other one came from Kansas. Some shit like that. So we have all types of blood in New Mexico, even me. I have blood that came from Kansas, blood that came from Missouri, blood that came from California, from my grandpa Ariano's side, and of course, blood from New Mexico, which most likely is Native American. So that makes me a coyote, and that makes most of us coyotes. Now some people represent their Hispanic blood, some people rep their Native American blood, some people represent Mexican, but we're all New Mexicans, dog, and we're celebrating the love. We're celebrating the mixture of cultures, the mixture of traditions. Because yes, the Spaniards did destroy, but they also contributed. If it wasn't for the Spaniards, we wouldn't have horses and cows and pigs. And if it wasn't for the natives, we wouldn't have chile and corn and cotton. It's just, without each other, we wouldn't be who we are today, and that's what we're celebrating. We're not celebrating the conquest and how brutal it was. Just because I teach about everything that happened in my history doesn't mean that's what we celebrate when we celebrate our fiestas. Originally, in 1712, when they first started the fiestas, they were to commemorate Don Diego de Vargas and the reconquest of 1692, which, as I've taught before, most people believe was bloodless and peaceful, which it was, and kind of, it was trickery. A few months later in 1693, it was a bloody battle. And that's not what we're celebrating though, because most people don't even know about the 1693 bloody battle, because they don't teach you that in the schools, but I teach it. But in 1692, when Don Diego de Vargas came, it's taught that he came and the natives just bent their knee and subdued in peace. And so it was a peaceful reconquest and no blood was shed. That's what they teach in history. That isn't true, but that's what most people believe. So that's what they celebrate. And I don't know who started this lie or who what, but that's what they teach. I teach the truth. If you want to know the truth, follow me. I will be at the Santa Fe Fiesta Parade today and I'll be going live. So if you want to see the parade, watch my channel. I'll be live and you'll check it out. Thank you for watching. This is Tragedy. I'm out.